qué bonito eso.
Super cuchi, ¿verdad?
Most of the time, men wouldn't say cuchi, and women would say both cuchi and bonito regardless. ¿Por qué? De eso hablaremos en este video. Yo soy Maura de Spring Spanish. Let's figure out what makes women and men choose different words and chunks in Spanish. Empecemos. Número 1. Men and women greeting each other. In Spanish.
¿Qué más, flaca? ¿Cómo estás?
Mau, Olis, ¿todo bien? ¿Y tú?
Qué bueno verte, Maurita. Cuídate.
Tú también, encantada de verte, cariño.
People usually choose different words not because of their gender, but because of the tone the words convey. Meaning, some words sound sweeter or softer, and that can both put off or attract people. Now, before we continue, I just have to make sure. Nada de lo que vamos a cubrir son reglas. And if they were, te animo a romperlas. It's actually pretty common for people to do it, so please be as free as you will with these chunks. In the context of the dialogue, these two people know each other and they're Latin American. Digo esto por si notas que usamos un montón de palabras de cariño entre nosotros que en otras culturas podría considerarse estrictamente coqueteo. For us, this is perfectly natural and invites no misunderstandings. Rápidamente, antes de que repasemos los chunks, we invite you to download our free Essential Spanish Chunking Kit through that link in the description. You'll find chunks anyone can and should use. Comparing both tones. Feminine tone chunks. ¿Qué más bella? Gorda? Nena? Baby? Most women would just change the flaca for almost anything else. Masculine tone chunks. ¿Qué más flaca? Using flaca does have a more masculine tone to it. Also, it's very Venezuelan, but probably other Latin countries use it as well. Olis. Using diminutives is a way to soften words in Spanish, therefore most common amongst people who prefer a more feminine tone. Hola. Just drop the diminutive if you're concerned with sounding too feminine. Encantada de verte. Though you can say encantado in the masculine, encantada does tend to be more common. Meaning, las mujeres dicen esto más. Qué bueno verte, Maurita. This is a more generic version, easier to use for everyone. Though turning names into diminutives like Maurita, especially between people of the same age, does have a heavy masculine tone to it. Cariño. There are many more words of endearment with a more neutral tone, but cariño is a popular feminine one. Nothing. I'm intentionally saying nothing for this last one because it'll be more common for men to refrain from terms of endearment. Digo esto sabiendo que mis familiares y amigos sí que los usan. Also, this will probably change by country so much more, and it'll change again depending on who the man is talking to. Si te da curiosidad, en Venezuela, you could hear men addressing women by flaca, bella, gorda, negra, and you don't have to be any of these things. In almost every case, these will all be well-intended and well-received. Men could address other men by saying hermano, papi, papá, papito, compadre, brother. Obviamente, esto cambia mucho dependiendo del país. So check out Paulísima's video on not saying mi amor for more Mexican alternatives. Número 2. Men and women praising in Spanish. Before we continue, just know that I'll be swapping the dialogues at the end. I'll show you that only through tone you can make anything sound as feminine or masculine as you want. Make sure to stick around for it.
¿Y estás viviendo en el centro? ¿Qué tal es?
Me encanta, el centro es súper lindo y tiene mucha energía.
Sí, total. El centro es bello.
Mira, y tú estás precioso sin barba, ¿no te había visto?
Sí, gracias. Me la quité hace poco y todavía no me acostumbro. Tú también te hiciste unas mechas. Me gusta, te queda chévere.
Ay, sí, gracias. Reconectándome con mi adolescente interior.
Comparing chunks. Feminine tone chunks. Me encanta. Everybody uses this, but percentage-wise, it might lean more towards the feminine side. Me gusta. This declaration is so basic and safe that it could always be masculine if you want it to be. El centro es súper lindo. Lindo is what makes this more feminine sounding. Other alternatives like bonito would make this more neutral. El centro es bello. Bello is a more neutral and therefore a very common masculine tone alternative to lindo. Ay, sí, gracias. Because this is about tone and ay is more of a sound than a word, I sí just have a very specific feminine tone to it. Gracias. To maintain a masculine tone, most people would definitely drop the I sí. Estás precioso. Telling a man que está precioso, along with choosing the word precioso, is what puts this chunk in this list. But put two men together that are basically best friends and you'll hear this and more. Te quedan chévere. I do think that because beauty adjectives like lindo, precioso, hermoso do have a pretty light energy to them, words that can break away from that and mean cool instead help with the masculine tone. También, notice that using precioso, ending in O, would make it clear you're talking to a man without any need to mention the subject. Whereas talking to a woman would use an A at the end. Preciosa. Y chévere es la opción venezolana por excelencia. Chévere is actually used all over the Caribbean, so Colombia, Puerto Rico, República Dominicana, and probably many more. But I can hear other Spanish-speaking men using their own version. Spanish, guay, Mexicans, padre, Argentinians, copado, etc. Chunk alert! Me encantan los chunks como no te había visto because they go well beyond the literal and they need a very specific context to mean something specific. You can use no te había visto to literally mean you hadn't seen someone and are apologizing for bumping into them or not saying hello, por ejemplo. How I've used it though, it means more I hadn't noticed this about you or I didn't know you had changed this about you. Next time you run into a Spanish-speaking friend and you want to point out a difference in their look, try using no te había visto con ese nuevo look. Me encanta. Número 3. Men and women expressing alarm in Spanish.
¡Iu, Mau! ¡Cuidado!
¿Qué pasó?
Nada, pensé que ibas a pisar caca de perro.
Me asustaste. Pensé que era otra cosa.
Es que qué susto, te ibas a destruir las botas.
Comparing chunks for both tones. Feminine tone chunks. Ew. Obviously, everybody gets disgusted by being more expressive about it, especially using sounds instead of words like ew has a more feminine tone to it. Asco. Even the more masculine toned people use asco under the right circumstances, so feel free to see asco as a neutral chunk. Que susto. Other versions of this would show up in a neutral list for sure, but the specific combination que susto belongs to this list. Me asustaste. Though this is very, very close to que susto, this version does sound more neutral or masculine, if you will. Caca de perro. The feminine tone does include not being too graphic with certain things. For this reason, there are colloquialisms like caca, which only softens the actual word for it. Mierda. You thought we were done talking about this? Pues no. Masculine sounding alternatives for this would be the very unadorned pupú de perro or straight jumping into a curse word, like mierda. Número 4. Swapping the dialogues.
¿Qué más, flaco? ¿Cómo estás?
Mau, Olis, ¿todo bien? ¿Y tú?
Muy bien. ¿Y estás viviendo en el centro? ¿Qué tal es?
Me encanta, el centro es súper lindo y tiene mucha energía.
Sí, total. El centro es bello.
Mira, y tú estás preciosa con esas mechas. ¿No te había visto?
Sí, gracias. Me las hice hace poco y todavía no me acostumbro. ¿Tú también? ¿Te quitaste la barba? Me gusta. Te queda chévere.
Ay, sí, gracias. Reconectándome con mi adolescente interior. ¡Ey, Mau, cuidado!
¿Qué pasó?
Nada, pensé que ibas a pisar caca de perro.
Me asustaste. Pensé que era otra cosa.
Es que qué susto, te ibas a arruinar las botas.
Qué bueno verte, Mauricito. Cuídate.
Tú también, encantado de verte, cariño.
Confession. I think masculine men owning their feminine side and using light words in their own tone is sexy as hell. Obviamente, it works the other way around as well. If you want to continue learning about sexy things, you should follow me to my lesson about mistakes that can be sexual. Te veo allá.